Zootopia was one of the more charming animated movies to come out of Walt Disney Animation Studios. While no one would ever hold their 21st century track record up to that of Pixar's, they've made some gems, including Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, and Zootopia. Sadly, one thing they've never really figured out how to do are sequels, with all the ones they've released thus far lacking the charm of the original. Such is the case, unfortunately, with Zootopia 2, which took 9 years to hit the big screen but feels rather assembly line, being a virtual replay of the first movie, minus any of the edge that made the original so good. One of the big selling points of the first movie was that it introduced this great world where all these wild creatures had to coexist with each other, sneaking in some sly social commentary that was never over the top. Yet, perhaps in an effort to please the same audiences who took issue with some recent messaging in Pixar and Disney films, this sequel feels watered down and dull, with it rather just fixating on a family of rich lynx as the big bad guys, leaving behind the substance that made the first one such a joy. Despite the long gap between movies, this picks up right where the first left off, with Judy and Nick now partners but screwing up every assignment they get in an effort to prove themselves. This puts them at odds with their angry chief, Idris Elba's Bogo, and being on thin ice, they think they will be able to prove themselves by foiling a plan by the snake baddie to steal a priceless journal holding the patent to Zootopia's weather walls. Of course, it turns out that the snake bad guy, who's voiced by Ke Huy Quan, is anything but, with the dastardly Lynxley family framing them, and they end up on the run, bickering all the way. Now, too much of the premise feels like a replay of the first movie, with Judy Hopps, once again voiced by Ginnifer Goodwin, still the overly enthusiastic rookie, while Nick Wilde, voiced by Jason Bateman, is still cynical and treats everything like a joke. Kids will no doubt love the movie, with it once again colorfully created and featuring some fun new characters, including Fortune Feimester as Nibbles Maplestick, a beaver podcaster. But one key mistake they make is splitting up Nick and Judy for a big chunk of the movie, introducing Andy Samberg's black sheep, Lynxley brother Paubert, who's on Judy's side and ends up with a long stretch of the running time. The movie, of course, is packed with chases and wacky animal chaos, but it feels like just the redux of the first film, with no new sequences, coming close to recapturing the magic of the first, which proved to be a crossover hit. Sure, families went to see it, but so did a lot of adults on their own, with me, of course, being one of them. Another issue is that Zootopia 2 wastes the massive voice cast, with big stars in voice roles like Macaulay Culkin, Quinta Brunson, and many more not given much of a chance to shine. Perhaps the biggest waste are the Zebros, two zebra cop buddies voiced by the WWE's CM Punk and Roman Reigns. They had a lot of comic potential that goes unused. And in the end, Zootopia 2 is like a lot of product Disney's been putting out lately, in that it's not particularly bad, but it's also assembly line and generic. You'll see it once and then you'll forget about it. They're playing it safe to appeal to as many people as they can, but they're making watered-down product that will never be considered on par with the Disney classics they were producing just a few years ago. This is fine for kids, and it won't necessarily bore parents, but it won't spark joy in the wide audience the original appealed to so strongly. I give this one a very disappointing 6 out of 10.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joblo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.